How awesome would it be if I can just eat whatever I want and still continue to lose body fat and get in a fantastic aesthetic body shape? As impossible as that might sound, this is me earlier this year and this is me now. Over the course of about 4 months, I've lost 10 kilograms or 25 pounds if you're American, while I was eating all kinds of delicious food and going to buffet restaurants. It sounds like I'm making up some BS to sell you guys some fitness course, but I'm not. Eating a lot of different food is what I do for a living as a content creator, and clearly I went out to get a lot of food. The reason that I wanted to try this diet is because a lot of people like me for my food content, but ironically a lot of people tell me that they like me for being fit as well. It's like when a girl tells you, yeah, I love you because you're a sweet guy, but I'd like you to be rough on me sometimes. It's kind of a difficult balance, but you definitely want it, you know? So in this video, I'm going to share exactly what I did, the diet protocol, the training, and other helpful tips that you probably want to know about if you want to go on a diet as well. Are you excited? Because I am. But before we start, oh, it's you guys. As much as I love myself, when I go outside, I can't just walk around half naked, but I still want to look fantastic. What do? Well, what I personally do, I just wear a nice, clean, high-quality t-shirt. Because this day and age, it really matters looking good everywhere you go. That's why I'd like to talk about today's sponsor, EDUARDO. It's a Korean apparel company and they make awesome t-shirts like the one that I'm wearing right now. Unlike just any t-shirt that you can buy, the fabric feels super comfortable and you can wash them over and over again, but they still don't shrink like other t-shirts do. Why? Because it's made in Korea and us Koreans, we're known for being obsessed with looking fantastic everywhere we go. I wear their t-shirts in many parts of the video, and let me tell you, I just love the product quality. They say look good and feel good. That's why I always feel fantastic. If you feel selfish looking great by yourself, they also have other product lines for the ladies and kids, so don't forget to take care of the people around you too. Go ahead and use the link in the description to get one of their t-shirts. Trust me, you're gonna look amazing and your date's gonna love you if you have one. Well, if you don't already have one, I'm sure your potential date's gonna love you. You guys will see me in their t-shirt all throughout the video, and thanks again EDUARDO for sponsoring this content. Now let's go lose some fat. Okay, let's start talking about the diet. This is me in the beginning of this diet challenge, weighing around 92 kilos or 205 pounds. And knowing that I have to consume a lot of food for work and continue to lose weight, I came up with this amazing diet plan and it's very simple. Out of 7 days a week, on 5 of those days, I would strictly eat clean foods only, meaning high protein, low fat, low GI carbs like oatmeal and brown rice, and reserve 2 days a week to film content. And filming food content is work and I just eat whatever I want and as much as I want. So it's like a typical clean diet with massive cheat days. And there's no secret in that, right? So on the days when I was eating clean, I would have 2 to 3 meals with lots of animal protein like chicken breast, Korean barbecue or steak, with a little bit of brown rice or oatmeal, and lots of veggies, although I don't really like veggies that much. And I think my total calorie consumption per day was around 2,500, and that is very little by the way. But obviously, just by eating clean, it won't do the trick, right? Okay, don't eat too much too often, I get it. I think we need to talk about another crucial part of this challenge, the training. Obviously, there are different ways of training, but since this is a body transformation challenge, I'm gonna focus on what is best for my physique, that is weight training. So what I'm going to be doing during this challenge is pretty simple. I'm gonna try to train 5 days a week, training for about an hour each time, and every time I train, I do about 20 sets of weight training. Each time I do a set, I'm going to try to get close to failure, and whenever I have time or the energy to, I'm going to add some cardio at the end of the workout. This is the kind of training protocol that is pretty well agreed upon as an effective way to build your muscles and lose body fat if you have a low-calorie diet. So good diet, good training, and 2 days of all you can eat. Uncle Jimmy, that sounds genius. Well, there was an issue. So I've gone on a diet in the past many times, and hard training for 5 days and taking 2 days of moderate cheat days worked in the past for me to consistently lose body fat. But this time, my body simply won't change. I mean, just look at this. This is like 3 months into the challenge, and you'll notice that my body didn't change at all. If anything, I might have gained a little bit of weight. Well, it turns out, it's possible to undo 5 days of your honest and hard work if your 2 cheat days include consuming 5,000 calories doing food challenges and devouring piles of food in buffet restaurants. Not only that, when I eat a lot of junk food for content, it made it even more difficult to resist another junk food the following day. It wasn't always 5 days of strict diet, it was like 4 or 3 sometimes. Well, I don't want all my training to go to waste, and obviously something had to be changed for me to succeed in this body transformation challenge. So I had to come to terms with a few things. My cheat days will have to be somewhat under control. Instead of going for unlimited calories and portions for 2 days, I decided to allow myself one cheat meal per day for 2 days, consuming enough food, but not to the point of discomfort, which I often did. I also further reduced my calories on the clean days, eating only about 2,000 calories per day. And although that might sound too extreme, my overall energy level stayed relatively normal, and my strength and training remained pretty much the same, so at least in my case, that was okay. Now, life happens and sometimes you just don't want to cook or you're outside, and if something like that happened to me, I just went to a place where they sell healthy, high-protein meal instead of completely letting myself go. Of course, they're not the most delicious option, but they were enough to extinguish my urge to eat something else that's extremely unhealthy. Something else that happened to be very helpful for me was shopping lean meat in large portions at Costco. I realized that for as long as I have pretty good food at home, I get less tempted to go out for food. It is kind of a hassle, but I trim and vacuum seal them in individual portions, and it just makes it really easy for later consumption. I'm kinda dorky, so I started growing my own basil recently, just to make this kind of activity more fun and meaningful. When I was dieting in the past, I just ate things for their nutritional value even if they didn't taste good. But it seems that it makes it much easier to stick to the diet if you put just a little more effort into making them taste good. And honestly, it doesn't even take that much time.
Well, that wasn't too hard, was it?
Now, if I had an anime wife that cooks for me, that would have been awesome. But the reality is harsh, and in this life, I have to take care of myself. Anyway, through my own experiment, I concluded that 2 days with pretty big cheat meals with around 4,000 calories are sustainable as long as you don't take them to your strict diet days. As far as the training, I haven't really changed much, but I paid close attention to any significant loss in strength, which can happen if your calorie consumption, especially protein consumption, is too low. Thankfully, I didn't experience much loss in my strength, which gave me the confidence to continue with this challenge. After making the diet adjustments, the changes in my physique became pretty noticeable, and all I had to do was keep doing the same thing. By the way, not training your lower body is like the most foolish thing you can do to yourself, so please don't skip your leg days.
But Jimmy, aren't you like one of those people that are like always fit and genetically just thin?
Well, that is a great point, and you're right. When it comes to losing body fat and building muscles, genetics is a pretty huge factor. Now, this might be hard to believe, but until I started training seriously, I was morbidly obese. I mean, I was always obese since I was a child, and by the time I was 13, I remember being 5'7" and weighing around 250 pounds. And not to body shame my own siblings, but I have 2 siblings that are still morbidly obese to this day. Of course, everything is a combination of genetics and lifestyle choices, but I just wanted you guys to know that I'm one of those people that are uniquely prone to obesity. But what am I gonna do? It's the only body I have. Another thing that's worth mentioning is training at home. I get a lot of questions from people asking me if they can get in shape just by training at home. My answer would be, it is possible, but only if you have a significant training knowledge and experience. If you guys are just starting out or not making great progress in your training, I would strongly suggest hiring a qualified trainer to help you, at least in the beginning, so that you can start with the right fundamentals. Many of you guys probably have seen people in your lives that go to the gym and somehow their physiques don't seem to improve for a long time. That's rarely because of their poor genetics, but more because most people that go to the gym have very ineffective and incorrect ways of training. I don't see myself as someone who's qualified to teach you guys how to train, which is why I'm not going to the details of my training routine. But yes, it is very possible to achieve a pretty significant muscle mass just with a few equipments at home as long as you know what you're doing. So about 4 months into my somewhat all-you-can-eat diet, this is what I look like. Not bad for an old guy who's been pumping out food contents, right? I think another question that a lot of you guys might have is whether I'm using any kind of performance-enhancing drugs like steroids. My answer to that is no, I haven't taken anything like that, but I am taking creatine, which is something that you can buy from a supermarket. And guys, please don't even think about taking steroids or anything that can mess with your hormones. They will give you side effects that will ruin your life. On top of that, with right training, most people can achieve a very impressive physique anyway. Having big effing muscles is nice, but I'm sure sustaining your long-term health is nicer. All I'm trying to say is, don't let your insecurities drive you crazy.
Am I like too skinny? I feel like I am.
Okay, so how did I do? Let's compare the before and after. This is me in late April, and this is me in early July weighing just about the same. And this is me now in early September, exactly 2 months after the video on the left. Yes, the lighting is different, but I think it's evident that I lost a significant amount of body fat, and I feel like I could have done better if I didn't waste the first 3 months, but I'm pretty satisfied with the result.
So what I learned in this challenge is that a person with average genetics can lose a significant amount of body fat in a short period of time if the person can maintain a strict low-calorie diet for 5 days a week while having 2 extremely high-calorie meals 2 times a week. However, I think I proved in this video that even with exercise and eating mostly strict diet, if you consume excessively high calories on just 2 days a week, it is just not possible to lose body fat. So I want you guys to know that what I did in this video is not something that I would recommend on people. If anything, I recommend eating a little more food than I did on a daily basis, and maybe consume less food than I did on my cheat days. So I hope you guys enjoyed this body transformation video. I don't normally do fitness videos like this, but if you guys want to see things that are more fitness related, go ahead and let me know down in the comments. Until we meet again, goodbye my friends.
And thanks again Eduardo for sponsoring this content. Go get their t-shirts, guys.